Some histories refuse to die. In the summer of 1518, an entire city lost control of their own bodies and danced themselves to death, not for joy, not for celebration, but because something inside them would not let them stop. By the time it ended, the streets of Strasbourg had become a waking nightmare of collapsing bodies, bleeding feet, and music that never seemed to end. It all began in the prosperous city of Strasbourg in July 1518. On a hot summer day, a local woman known to history only as Frau Trophäa stepped out of her home into the street. Without warning, without music, she began to dance. This was not celebration. It was violent, frenzied, terrifying. She twisted, spun, and stomped across the street with unnatural energy. Witnesses watched in confusion as the hours passed, but she never stopped. By nightfall, she was still dancing. When exhaustion finally forced her body to collapse, she lay motionless on the ground only briefly, before rising again and continuing the dance. For nearly a full week, Frau Trophäa danced almost non-stop. Her husband pleaded with her to stop. Neighbors tried restraining her. Nothing worked. Her feet swelled terribly. Her shoes split apart. Blood stained the stone streets beneath her. Yet somehow, her body kept moving. In medieval Europe, many believed such suffering was connected to the wrath of Saint Vitus, a feared saint said to curse sinners with uncontrollable movement and madness. At first, the people of Strasbourg thought Frau Trophäa had simply lost her mind. They were wrong. Then something even more horrifying happened. Other people began to dance too. At first, only a few joined her, then dozens. By the end of July, more than 30 people were uncontrollably dancing through the streets of Strasbourg. Some cried while dancing, others screamed in agony. Some begged for help, even as their legs continued moving against their will. And still, the numbers grew. By mid-August, historical records suggest between 50 and 400 people, men, women, and even children, had been consumed by the deadly dance. The city became unrecognizable. Day and night, exhausted bodies stumbled across the cobblestones. The streets echoed with shuffling feet, desperate cries, and terrified prayers. Many dancers went for days without proper sleep, food, or water. Their muscles tore from exhaustion. Their breathing became ragged. Blood smeared across the roads, where blistered feet dragged against stone. Some suddenly collapsed dead from heart attacks, strokes, or complete exhaustion. Others collapsed, rested briefly, then stood back up and continued dancing again. Imagine witnessing your husband collapse in front of you from exhaustion, only to rise moments later and continue dancing as though possessed. The city authorities were desperate. Nobody understood what was happening. Medieval doctors rejected supernatural explanations and instead blamed an imbalance of hot blood inside the body. Their prescribed cure? More dancing. It was a catastrophic mistake. Believing the victims needed to dance the illness out, city officials cleared large guild halls and marketplaces for the dancers. Professional musicians were hired. Drummers played relentlessly through the streets. Even dancers were brought in to encourage the afflicted to keep moving. Instead of stopping the plague, the music seemed to feed it. The streets transformed into something nightmarish. Crowds gathered around writhing bodies. Musicians played while exhausted victims stumbled and screamed in pain. Some dancers tied cloth around their bleeding feet and continued anyway. Strasbourg had become trapped inside a nightmare that nobody could explain. So what caused one of the strangest events in human history? At the time, people offered many explanations. Some believed the dancers were possessed by demons. Others believed it was punishment from God, or a curse from Saint Vitus himself. Medieval physicians insisted it was caused by overheated blood. But today, historians and medical experts point toward another explanation: mass psychogenic illness, more commonly known as mass hysteria. Strasbourg had endured years of extreme suffering: famines, disease outbreaks, smallpox, syphilis, poverty, fear. Under such crushing psychological stress, entire groups of people can experience powerful physical symptoms triggered entirely by the mind. Another theory involves ergot poisoning, a toxic fungus growing on rye bread, capable of causing hallucinations and violent convulsions. However, many experts doubt this explanation because ergot poisoning usually restricts blood flow and causes severe pain, making prolonged dancing nearly impossible. Other theories, including secret religious cults, neurological diseases, or elaborate performances, still exist, but most historians consider them far less likely. Some histories refuse to die. The people of Strasbourg danced until their bodies gave out, but their story continues to echo through history as a warning, a reminder that the human mind is far more fragile than we like to believe, and that under enough fear, enough suffering, even reality itself can begin to break. This is The Archivist, Keeper of Forgotten Truths. If this story disturbed you, subscribe, turn on notifications, and join me for more forgotten histories hidden in the shadows of the past. And tell me below, if you had stood in the streets of Strasbourg in 1518, would you have tried to help the dancers or run before the music reached you? Thank you for watching.